there is only one hat for the programming, and that's unconditional love. And every single one of you that has shown up for us for the last 2 years, have stood with us, have loved us unconditionally, you have helped break down this programming, not reset it, not integrate it, you have break it down. Her being able to stand and speak today is breaking down programming. Her being able to stand tomorrow will break that down. Sappy and Debbie and Megan, all of them being able to tell that story, being safe, tell the story with y'all, has helped break down the programming. Unconditional love is the hack.
Amen. Don't have patience. People just don't have patience. When we see somebody hurting, you automatically want to jump to they're lashing out because they're hurt. They're lashing out because of this. If you went through a really emotional drug addiction with somebody, alcohol addiction with somebody, dig deeper for the root of the trauma. Find the root of the trauma. That's where you're going to start to help them. Do you know what I mean?
So many times when you get sidetracked by what we see, if they're cussing at us or lashing at us or being angry, we stop right there and, what's wrong with you, and you don't want to deal with it anymore. You have to push past that and look past that and find out what the root of that is.
Any questions? I know you do. I know you got a lot. And we speak different languages. If you go back into our lives, sometimes our skin tone will change. Has anybody noticed it? If you go back, some of us, our muscle tone will change. Maddie's way more stacked than we are. Our glasses come on and off because some of us can see with the prescription that we have. There's one alternate of the prescription. The other alternate does not have the same prescription. So you'll see us take our glasses on and off because some of us can see with them and some of us can't. There's little things that I want to, I feel like we need to give, because again, I don't know what's going to happen to us. But there's little things that we want to give you to kind of equip you to be able to help somebody else. There's survivors that are adults now, that are in relationships, and it just looks different than a child in the CPS system, or a child that's going through something. It looks like it's just being bullied, or it looks like it's just, something else. But in reality, it's so much more than that.
The blueprint you're seeing is a visual representation of an actual MK Ultra blueprint. Blueprints are used for MK Ultra survivors to map, monitor, and control them and their alters. This blueprint that you're seeing was pulled off of Google because it looked very similar to an actual blueprint. Again, this is only a visual representation. It is not a real MK Ultra survivor's blueprint, but it looks very similar. To show you an actual blueprint from a survivor would put the survivor in grave danger, as programmers, traffickers, and other evil people would know when, where, and how to access each of the altars that are represented on the blueprint.
So what happened was is the trafficker would then say, okay, I want that person. I'll pop down general admission for that person. Now they want to know, is that person a GIC? Or can I build one? If they do, there's a contract like this. Because since I was 4 years old, let's say this part got made. Does that make sense? This section, I'm going to pass this around right here. So let's say this section was made. Just this small section, not this one. Does that make sense? Sorry, didn't know. Right? Then when I turned like 8 years old, these two sections were made. Does that make sense? Then when I turned like 12 years old, these sections were made. Now you have this much of a contract. Does that make sense? Each trafficker, each handler now goes to an MK Ultra programmer. Have y'all seen some of those in the chat? They pop up and they're like, I'm a Python programmer, I'm a this programmer. There's so many names that people don't know what they're looking at. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know, like they say it like there's programmers and handlers. Do they really know what they're talking about? Because if you actually ask them to break it down for you, they wouldn't be able to answer you. I mean, seriously, if you see some of these, well, I'm about to say a name. If you see some of these truth tellers, other survivors that are doing platforms. You've seen some of them that use us as stink bait. You know what I'm talking about. I know so many names come to mind, not just one, right? And they have these seminars. It was not easy to get here. That's not what I'm thinking of, right? What happens is so after a certain age, all this is made. Now, I know you're looking at this like there's so many things on this, right? There's sections. Huh?
So that's not a real MK Ultra blueprint. That's just a one I pulled off the internet, but it looks close enough alike.
We can't show you my real one.
Because it would be too dangerous to show you the real.
Yeah.
So don't, you guys, it's not a real blueprint. But it looks like it, and so you guys can get a visual, we blew it up like that for you.
If I show you like this and somebody took a picture of this and this is really on, you could drop me by looking at this section. You could drop me by taking a look at this quadrant. You could find one of my altars and switch up a system and make us a vegetable. That's how much the remote goes to somebody's life. Britney Spears, somebody has this. And so what's happening is that twangy one is over here, on this side, right here. I'm just gonna give you an example. There's a twangy one. You know that twangy one? Yeah? Then there's one that talks like a baby. They're all the way over here, right? There's an evil person, there's evil people, programmers, encryptors, stitchers, decoders, that sit back and they plot on people's lives. And they plot on it the same way that people plot on CPS children on a file. Do you know what I mean? There's some CPS kids where they don't know the kid. They read their file. They never met the kid. They don't try to talk to them. They don't sincerely know what the hell is going on. But the first thing they want to say is, I know them because I read their file. You know what I mean? It's this. So what happens is they go to this, after they do an auction, they go to this blueprint and they say, I want someone who can entertain. And I'll pay you $20,000 if you can at least point me the quadrant of what that's in. So that's this section. And they say, okay, I'll go to this section, I'll pick this altar. You want to build that person into the slave that you want. When they're done building that person, they create another one. And in order to create another one, it's money. Okay, so then they take another section of this blueprint and they find another altar. And if they don't have an altar, they create one.
Toward the end of the night, much transpired behind the scenes. Allie abruptly ended her talk and was escorted out by her security detail. Once in the green room, her female security and 8 90s angels witnessed her being laid on the icy cement floor. They assisted in putting a fan on her, as well as placing ice packs on her legs, neck, and arms. It was 50 degrees in New Mexico that night. Allie's entire body overheated and went numb. It took over 30 minutes for her body to regulate itself. There will always be consequences when a survivor speaks out or attempts to break their programming. Most every survivor has programming in place that allows a handler to be able to remotely control a survivor's temperature, heart rate, and blood pressure, as well as activate hives and or create the appearance of a death or coma state in the body. This is reason number 210 why we say a survivor is never truly free.